What's up? Wisdom Junkie. Yeah, back in Arizona. My trip to beautiful Colorado is over. It has ended. Time spent with my brother was awesome. All of them. If you saw my last video, you met him. His name is Justin. True mountain man. Lover of the pipe. Trying to convince him to do his own YouTube channel. I'm not sure if he will yet. But we'll see. Time will tell. Thank you for your feedback. Smoking my new Barling that I got in Colorado. Wonderful pipe. In it, something called Timberline by the Stag Tobacconists in Colorado Springs. How can I describe Timberline? Very, very mild. So mild that a 2-year-old could smoke it and not be bothered. Slightly sweet tasting. Not exciting. It leaves me wanting something more. So, I wouldn't suggest it. Oh my God, yesterday I tried some of the Drew Estate Heirloom Cherry to give cherry another try. And it was horrible stuff. Oh, it was like no cherry at all. It was like smoking straight like cigarette tobacco out of my pipe. I couldn't even, I was a quarter way through the bowl. I had to throw it out. It was horrible. I think Frog Morton's cellar has got me spoiled though. The path to pipe snobbery has been paved by it. Watching Bama Piper's one of his last videos. He was talking about John Adams and basically what is it about men or women that make them great? How they rise to power? What is the common denominator? Is it providence? Is it education? Timing, position, education? All valid questions. It was a good video. You should check it out. Bama Piper. They got me wondering, okay, well, what does a great man even mean? What do we mean by great men? What makes somebody great? Is it the fact that they leave a legacy? Hitler made a legacy. Is it the fact that they made a legacy for good? They made change? I don't know. That's a good question. What does it make? What makes a person great? One of my pals, RW Emerson, wrote an essay called "The Uses of Great Men." And he says it's natural to believe in great men. It's just what we do. It comes naturalist for us to believe in them. And he says that nature seems to exist for the excellent. which makes sense. I mean, nature in itself exists for the great. And that kind of speaks to natural selection. Darwin's theory of necessarily evolution, but natural selection. Well, only things that are great will be able to continue on their species, thus surviving and carrying on their genes. The world is upheld by the veracity of good men, and they make the earth wholesome. And they who lived with those great men found life to be glad and nutritious. We call our children and our lands by their names, and their names are wrought into verbs of language. Their works and effigies are in our houses, and every circumstance of the day recalls an anecdote to them, meaning great men. Just the search of the great man is the dream of youth and the most serious occupation of manhood. When we're young, that's what we do. We dream of being great and modeling ourselves after people who were great men or women. Try and be like them. It's a serious occupation into manhood. Travel far and wide to find their works, glimpse them. But Emerson says that he does not travel to find comfortable, rich, and hospitable people, or a clear sky, or ingots that cost too much. But if there were any magnet that would point to the countries and the houses where are the persons who are intrinsically rich and powerful, I would sell all and buy it and put myself to the road today. So let me say that again. If there was a magnet, something that pointed towards a place where a person lives who is intrinsically inside, rich inside, and powerful inside, he would sell everything in his possession to meet that man. He would rather spend his time and effort seeking out and spending time with a hermit, a wise hermit, a man who was rich intrinsically, rather than his time and money spending on someone who is extrinsically powerful or great, according to what society says. And that makes sense, because have you ever idolized somebody growing up and actually either met them or later on as you grew up came to realize that they were very, very human, sometimes very nasty people? Perhaps they cheated on their spouses, or they've become sexual predators of some sort, or just are assholes in real life to people. What you see on screen isn't what you get in real person. Very disappointing. So in that case, yeah, I would rather spend my time seeking out somebody who is rich and true intrinsically, salt of the earth kind of people, like you guys. Honestly, I believe what Emerson is saying is true about great men. I would rather seek out and hang out with you guys than I would ever want to seek out and hang out with like celebrities, the President of the United States, TV personalities. I think you have more to offer, honestly. He is great who is what he is from nature, and who never reminds us of others. Let me say that again. He is great who is what he is from nature, and never who he reminds us of others. So in other words, great men, according to Emerson, are people who are themselves, are what nature made them naturally, and who are distinguished from others. People who do not emulate someone else to try to be like someone else are people he says are not great. And it's true. I think in public we judge and condemn the eccentric people. Those people who live their lives on their own terms. But in private, we really admire them. We see something in them that we don't see in ourselves. And those are the great men. So what makes great men? What is that common denominator? I think it's two things. I think first, it's one's ability to break free from the binds that society holds on you, and being yourself and not emulating somebody else necessarily. Of course, that can be argued against. If I emulate everything I do after someone like Chef Ramsay, okay, but I want to be a chef and I take the same path that he did, then maybe perhaps I will be as great as he is or as successful. But that's only if you define greatness in terms of being a famous celebrity rich chef. I'm talking about something deeper. At the end of the day, Chef Ramsay's an asshole. I don't consider that great. The other thing, that makes you great is having to put the work in. Emerson says we are all wise in capacity, though so few in energy. We are all wise in capacity, but so few in energy. We all have the capacity to be great. Every one of us. So few the energy to actually follow through it and do what we need to do to become great. So greatness is a matter of work. And putting your mind towards it. And in his journals, Emerson says, right here, what is the hardest task in the world? To think. To think is the hardest task in the world. And we are all wise in capacity, though so few in energy. A wise man, Ralph Waldo Emerson. So, to sum up, what are great men? Why do we care? Are great men created from nature and are distinguished from the crowd? They are who they are for themselves, and they work their asses off to be where they are. This is a fun chat. I'm sorry it took up 15 minutes of your time. appreciate all the subs. And I really, really enjoy watching all you guys' videos. When I was bored in Colorado, that's what I spent my time doing, watching you guys' videos. So, glad to be home. Stay cool and keep your pipes lit, fellas and ladies.